Hi guys, I'm excited today to present my map on Eugenio Derbez and his geographical filmography. I chose Derbez because as we've been reading, there are certain things that um, can't necessarily be mapped and how maps have such a huge influence on media and communication. And Derbez, I think his films are very unique because they are oftentimes shot in both the United States and Mexico, and they are also oftentimes bilingual, which is something we don't necessarily see in pop culture or in mass media often. To start, his first breakout role, Under the Same Moon, shot in 2007, was filmed in Querétaro, Mexico, but it was also filmed in Los Angeles. The film follows Derbez as the protagonist as an immigrant coming to the United States. And around this time, George Bush was adding a lot of immigration reform, and 2006 to 2007 saw a massive immigrants' rights protest around the US. So this movie really helped shape the humanistic perspective of immigrants. The next movie, No Eres Tú Soy Yo, 2010, was shot in Mexico City. Mexico City is a beautiful city. It's very urban, it's very popularized, and I feel like this movie really helps shift the perspective of how people see Mexico because oftentimes it can be viewed as something stereotypical and something that it's not, something very rural or something that is um, lacking something, a modern aspect, when in reality, that's not the case. And his movie did a lot for Mexico. It did really well in the box office and showed that Mexico can also be independent of the US without Hollywood. Next, instructions not included. So this movie was shot in Acapulco and in Los Angeles. It's the story of, again, an immigrant and how he moves to Los Angeles and becomes an actor. This is a pretty important movie because it was very heavily marketed in Mexico as well as in the United States. And it is a bilingual movie. There is a lot of code switching and a lot of switching between languages in the movie. Around this time, the US political climate towards immigrants was kind of heating and getting accelerated, and this movie does a lot to shape the perspective we have on immigrants, and also connecting this to the to the readings of Are We Good Neighbors? We've seen a lot of um, prejudice, particularly in Texas, from people crossing over. So the Perez's films are really important to both the United States and Mexican culture. Um, This next movie, El Complot Mungal, 2018, was shot in Mexico City, but it is pretty interesting because it gives a retro look into Mexico City and not just the urbanized view we have of it now. Um, it pushes back against the US stereotype because this is a very complex film and it involves a lot of genres. So it So around this time, obviously we know that Trump was elected in 2016 and the immigrant crisis only continued to rise after this. So this movie came out in 2018 and it really pushed back against certain stereotypes on how we see Latino or Latina Americans. Next, his film, The Valet, came out in 2002, and this was actually shot in Atlanta, Georgia. One thing I love about De Verez's film is they're shot everywhere. So even when something is shot in like Querétaro in Mexico, he goes all around the streets, and even the his films in LA are known for shooting real immigrant streets and not using actors. So The Valet in 2012 was shot in Georgia. This is a bilingual film as well, and it is a Mexican American romantic comedy. It is a remake of a French film, which is just incorporating another branch of culture. And something that's quite interesting about it is that although it's predominantly Mexican actors and there is Spanish in the movie, it was mostly all targeted to a US audience, and it first premiered in Hulu. So we really see how his films are crossing across borders and connecting us, kind of connecting the relationship between the US and Mexico, and also all of Latin America, where he's a very famous actor in. To conclude, I just want to talk about how. Okay. No, no, you're good.
I forgot.
I paused it. Let me go now.
I totally forgot. Is it in here?
Yeah, of course. However, it is once commented on being a very well known, he's a household name in Mexico, but how in the United States it was a challenge for him to go into these rooms full of actors or these rooms full of producers and be treated like a nobody. And to now present day, he's even been in American films that have won Oscars. So how over time, he has established his name and established his credibility.